Hey there, this is Women on the Brink. I'm your host, Chris Jeffrey, a registered acupuncturist and wellness advisor with a passion for helping women live happier and more balanced lives. When I'm away from work, I'm usually outside in nature, either walking the seawall or I'm hiking in the mountains. And like many of you, my life has been filled with moments of hardship, some that I thought I couldn't overcome and really left me questioning my own strength. But through these challenges, I discovered resilience, courage, and a renewed sense of purpose. So I'm here to share not just my journey, but the lessons I've learned, and to remind you that no matter what obstacles come your way, there's always a path forward. And just to let you know, this podcast is not prescriptive, it's an offering. So please take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Hi, welcome to Women on the Brink. Today, we're going to be talking about trusting that the universe has our backs, but not in the, floaty love and light while everything's on fire way. I mean the real kind of trust, the kind that shows up when I'm tired or when I'm a little bit irritable or maybe just questioning some of my life choices and somehow things still work out. Because if the universe does have our back, it doesn't always show up in polite or really obvious ways, right? So this week's episode flows perfectly from what we were talking about last week when we talked about standing at the edge of a brand new 9-year cycle. So entering a new cycle isn't just about intentions and vision boards. It's about really building a working relationship with the universe, like learning how we communicate with the universe. For me, it's about understanding how roadblocks function like red lights and detours act like unexpected green ones. So the more fluent we become in those signals, the less we fight them and the more gracefully we move forward, even when the path doesn't look like what we had planned. So, for a long time, I thought trusting the universe meant I had to be calm, I had to be unbothered, kind of be in a Zen mode, right? But what I've learned is that trust often shows up when I'm muttering something like, "You've got to be kidding me now." That's usually when the energy kicks in, not when I'm manifesting perfectly, but when I'm being deeply, unapologetically human. So to me, energy feels less like magic and more like momentum. And it's what happens when I stop clenching my butt around outcomes and let things move more. So every time I've tried to control the timing or relationships or money or circumstances, I've usually ended up feeling exhausted and disappointed. But the moments when I kind of let go, and loosen that grip a little bit, strange coincidences start to appear. And the universe doesn't usually whisper to me. I mean, that's the way it might happen with some people. But I know for me, it's usually electrical things, as I've said before, and it's often a light show. So just recently, I'll give you an example. I went to pick my mom up for a doctor's appointment, and it was a specialist appointment. So it was one of those that you can't easily reschedule. And anyway, I got to her house, helped her into the car, got her settled in, and I turned the key and the car didn't start. So instead, it made this strange, almost offensive noise. And then the dashboard lit up like a casino. I mean, flashing symbols on the dashboard that I've never seen before. And then there was this tapping and pinging sound coming from the gear shift. And even the P light, the parking light, it was flashing off and on. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like bloody Morse code. And my mom says to me, "What's going on?" She said, "Has this ever happened to you before?" And I said, "No, but I think I kind of have some idea what's going on." And so I turned the car off and I turned it back on again. And Nothing happened. Same thing. This time the lights were a little dimmer and there weren't as many sounds, but my logical brain went to, "Oh, there must be a problem with the battery," right? Super practical. But here's where my trust actually showed up. Not as calm. I wasn't calm, but more like I had this moment of clarity where I thought, "Okay, mom needs to get to the appointment." So I just went into kind of a contingency mode where I ordered an Uber and got her in and sent her off and then just decided to handle the rest. And so I called BCAA and they said a 2-hour wait. So, of course, I called the doctor's office and asked very nicely if they would put my mom into an Uber to send her home. And then I waited. 4 hours later, the mechanic arrives and he jump started my car. And he just kind of shrugged and went, "I honestly don't know what's wrong with the car." He said, "But I suggest that you get it down to the dealership, ASAP." And so that's what I did. I drove the car down to the dealership and pulled into the parking lot and turned the car off. And then I thought, I'm just curious to see if it's going to do this again. So I turned it on, and this time it rolled over. And I was like, wow, well, that's interesting. So I did it again and again, and it just kept turning back on. So I thought, okay, there's no point in me bringing this up. And so I drove the car home, and honestly, nothing has happened since. So the old me would have called this a hassle, an inconvenience, right? The new me now asks a different question. What was it that I was being steered away from that my car had to stop? Because the timing was just too precise. The theatrics were probably a little unnecessary, but the light show is often the way that I know that the universe is trying to get in touch with me. And the outcome was fine. I mean, my mom, she wasn't stranded. She got her care. It didn't cost me anything but time. So it feels less like a breakdown and more like an intervention of some kind, right? Like I was just being told to stay in one place, not to go anywhere. I don't even need to know what I was being protected from. I just recognize the pattern, and I don't see these moments as punishment. They're more like redirections. And the universe is just saying, not this way, not today. So the more that I trust that, the less rattled I feel when plans do derail. And I'm starting to understand that not everything that slows me down is working against me. Some things are working for me, just I don't know it at the time, right? And I've also noticed how dramatically my energy shifts when I make decisions from alignment instead of fear. Because for me anyway, alignment isn't loud. It's very quiet, it's subtle. It's like this quiet little subtle yes in the body. And fear is more for me, fear comes with negotiations. And so with the car, normally I'd be pleading with the universe saying, please turn the car on. And I promise, universe, that I'll trust you forever, starting immediately. I think we all kind of know that feeling, right? Anyway, trusting the universe doesn't mean I stop showing up. It means I stop forcing. I still take action, but I'm not chasing. And when I chase, I feel tight and exhausted. When I trust, things feel supported and not necessarily easy, but supported, like I'm being met halfway, let's say. And here's the big discovery for me: energy responds fast to mood. So when I'm tense and impatient, everything slows down. When I relax even slightly, things move again. It's like the universe saying, oh, good, you've stopped hovering. And a lot of the time, some moments don't make any sense until later on. At the time, they feel like maybe disasters. But in hindsight, they're reroutes, protection, or preparation, which is deeply annoying for an impatient person like me. The universe also responds to humor. So the moments when I feel that I can laugh even a little bit at the situation, everything gets lighter. And I kind of talk to the universe the way I talk to a slightly unreliable friend. I'll say something like, "Okay, I'm trusting you, but I'm nervous." Or maybe something like, "I know you got a plan out there, and I would really like to know what's going on." So trusting the universe doesn't mean everything works out perfectly. It just means I trust myself to handle what shows up. And the universe doesn't necessarily promise comfort, but it does offer support. So now I listen to my body. Tight usually means I'm pushing, heavy means I'm ignoring something, and light, even that amusement light, that's alignment. The universe speaks sensations to me, not language. So I've been following the nudges that make sometimes no logical sense. Sometimes they're just those intuitive yeses and nos. They're shaping my life far more than anything that I used to construct carefully ever did. And I'm finding that trusting timing is quite humbling because sometimes just because I'm ready for something doesn't mean the situation is. So again, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. And energy responds best to curiosity instead of demand. So the question that I try to ask now is what's unfolding here or what's happening here instead of why isn't this working? And listen, I mean, yeah, there's days I don't trust at all, days I spiral and like I overthink things. That's my nature. On those days, I guess trust looks like something I just have to kind of leave until tomorrow. And tomorrow will be different. And usually it is. So if you're tired, you're overwhelmed, or you're doing everything right and nothing is kicking in, this is kind of a reminder that the universe having your back doesn't mean life is necessarily smooth, but know that you are supported even when it's messy. And maybe just try one small thing this week, like trying to loosen your grip and laugh when things go sideways and notice what happens when you stop forcing situations. Because somehow, despite all the evidence to the contrary, we're all still here, we're all still standing, and we're all still evolving. And that kind of tells me that the universe might actually know what it's doing, even when I don't.
Thanks for joining, and I want you to know that this isn't just a podcast, this is a movement. So share this information with your friends, and let's go, ladies.